Well, let's give congratulations to that panel that we just heard from again. I don't know about you all, but you guys hear that they were high school students? So I'm in line to say, how do we get those students in our workforce? Because they are a bright future for us. I just want to say thank you, Newton. I met with you a couple months ago, and you talked about this conference and your passion and commitment to bringing this discussion to the forefront. This is an important conference, and I've picked up so many gems. I will not butcher people's names, but a couple of gems I picked up already is that we need to focus on eliminating barriers to jobs by eliminating the degree requirements. We also need to be intentional around our apprenticeship programs, not make them long and cumbersome, and to provide on-the-job training. And as a mother of a student that's going to college, focusing on mascots and not majors. That was huge for me. I'll be using that one again. And also the discussions around stress faults around how do we help our young people around mental health. So I picked up a lot of gems already in just my first day. So I can't wait till tomorrow. So thank you so much for inviting me. I am so happy to be here because OIC's work aligns with my passion. Exposing young people to career paths, ensuring returning citizens are equipped with meaningful work opportunities, and positioning families to no longer suffer as the working poor. All are very near and dear to my heart. And when I talk about this, I want you all to know my story. I grew up very far from middle class. I grew up on the east side of Detroit, raised by my grandmother and my mother. And at the time, we didn't have the word multi-generational housing. All I knew is that my entire family lived together under one roof, and it took all of us collectively to make sure that we could cover our bills. That meant my aunts, my cousins, my nieces, nephews, everybody lived in the same household. And I didn't also realize that my family was what we call unbanked, another term we didn't have at that time. Unbanked meaning that we used the corner store to cash our checks, that we paid our bills with cash or money orders, and that we rarely went to the bank. We used to save our money under our mattress or in other places. I say that to say, I was supported though. I had a loving mother and a strong family structure, but it took all of us. I remember working at 8 years old as a paper girl and using my money that I made to help my mother pay the bills. And thank the Lord my sister had those gifted hands, and so she did the neighborhood's hair. In fact, she does my hair now today. And she used to take the money she earned to help my mother pay the bills. So we were absolutely the working poor. And I share that story because my story, along with the families we're talking about today, is why we're in the room. It is so important that we put the resources that we need for our families. My husband also had a very similar background to me. He grew up on public assistance. And he also tells our children the story around him having to wear hand-me-down clothes because he was the middle child, so he never got anything new. We are both first-generation college students and graduates from our family. So we're the first generation in my family to be in what we call the middle class, and we're holding on for dear life. I'm happy to say that we have 2 children. One that just graduated is in the medical school at University of Michigan. She was the second person in my family, so I call her my cycle breaker, second female in my family to graduate from college. We just dropped my son off to do his freshman year at Howard University. He will be the cycle breaker on my husband's side of the family. He will be the second male on my husband's side of the family to go to college and graduate. Keep my fingers crossed and pray for me. But he'll be the first male in my family to go to college and graduate. So we're celebrating a lot of firsts in our family. Both of my children are going through that adulting process, so you guys got to pray for me. And I don't know about you all, but when he picked Howard University, I was a little nervous. Howard's a great school. They number 8 girls to every single boy. So he's got a lot of distractions. And why I'm telling you my background is because my story is like a lot of people's story. 76% of Black adults in America don't have four-year college degrees. White households have 7.8 times more wealth than the typical Black household. And here in the Miami area, people of color are almost 3 times, I'm gonna say that again, people of color are almost 3 times as likely as white residents to experience working in poverty. Almost 80% of the jobs available in this market do pay a livable wage. They pay enough money for food, housing, childcare, medical care, and transportation. And we call those jobs livable wage jobs. But here's the kicker. They all require a 4-year degree. So when we talk about helping people get to the next level, that barrier of a 4-year degree is real, and it's a challenge. I also want to go ahead and note that a livable wage job does not create wealth or build generational wealth. It's just enough money. It doesn't allow you enough money to save for retirement, college cost, emergency savings, or to pass on wealth to your next generation. So you can see now why I'm thankful that my education, coupled with a lot of good breaks in my career journey, and absolutely the grace of God, has placed me in this role I have today at JP Chase. I've had the honor of leading Advancing Black Pathways. And when I talk about Advancing Black Pathways, which is a focused global initiative that was architected by Jamie Dimon in 2018 to help close the racial wealth gap, I see a lot of nodding in the room because you all know how important it is to close that gap. But a couple months ago, I was in a room that wasn't supportive and didn't really get it. When I shared them my title and my responsibilities, I got a lot of puzzled looks. I got a lot of frowns. You could tell that people were not understanding why a JP Chase would launch a program that focuses on advancing Black pathways. And I'm happy to say not only do we have a program for advancing Black pathways, we have one for advancing Hispanic and Latinos as well. And so I could see people really trying to figure out, well, what kind of job is that? And what kind of company hires somebody to focus on that? And I'm proud to say that we've done that and been very intentional in our efforts. And I just want to give a sidebar, because I was not the leader of Advancing Black Pathways when it first launched. I was actually at another financial services institution. But I was an admirer of the program and thought what an incredible opportunity and how bold of JP Chase to lean in and center the discussion around race. So I really want to get back to my story, though. So when I started to talk about the work that we were doing and that JP Chase was backing up that commitment with real dollars, I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but we've launched in 2020 a commitment of $30 billion to focus on Black, Hispanic, and Latinos around closing the racial wealth gap. That's $30 billion. Which is an amount that really demonstrates our leadership's commitment to helping close the racial wealth gap. One brave lady, though, did lean in and say, well, tell me more, because I hadn't heard of a role like that, and I'm surprised that role actually exists at a corporation. So I really gave her some specific examples of the impact of the work I lead. And so I just want to share that with you in hopes that some of the ideas and programs that we've launched at JP Chase might be thought starters for you all. It also might be a confirmation that you're on the right track at your organization. And also it might be something that you want to share with me and say, in addition to that, think about doing this. Number one that we are talking about was we're doing a significant commitment. We have a significant commitment to hiring talent from our colleges and universities and emerging talent. We committed a goal of 4,000 young people that we wanted to hire over 4 years. I'm happy to say we achieved that goal of hiring 4,000 young people in our analyst and associate programs that are not typically in positions for people of color. Those roles are not usually filled by people of color. The second thing we've done is we've opened up our corporate doors every summer for the last 3 years for a program called the Advancing Black Pathways Fellowship Program, which focuses on sophomores, giving them a pre-internship where they earn money, but also get an opportunity to work in corporate America. And you can imagine for some of those youth, it's their first time in that kind of setting. To get that experience and exposure early in their college career is priceless. The last thing I shared with her was that at JP Morgan Chase, we all want our communities to thrive. And so we committed $350 million in 2019 to a national jobs and skill initiative. Specifically here in South Florida, we're helping equip workers and spur entrepreneurship in technology, which I'm very proud to say that some of our funding is going for skill building and is allocated to a collective of organizations where we will work with and deploy $100 million. We're not the only funder of that, but collectively with other funders, it's $100 million going to work on tech opportunities. The goal is for it to reduce the barriers of entry and to create opportunities for underrepresented groups, including youth and small business owners. That program is called Tech Equity Miami. So hopefully you all are familiar with it. If you ask us why we're focused on tech, it's because the tech movement is exposing equity challenges, and you all know what they are. More than 65% of Miami residents, greater Miami residents, identify as Black, Hispanic, or Latino. Can you all imagine how many are actually in the tech industry? 12% for Black and 27% for Hispanic and Latinos. So see, there's a big opportunity gap. But at JP Morgan Chase, we understand that you do not need a four-year degree or should not be required to have a four-year degree to access an opportunity and a livable wage. So we're also doing some work around focus on and hiring based on skills, working on certifications, credentialing, and even apprenticeship and on-the-job training programs, which we think are all pathways to creating family-sustaining careers. One example of a program that we're working on in partnership is 110.org. Has anybody ever heard of 110? So you guys need to Google it because I didn't see a hand go up. But all right, thank you. It's a national program. And if you Google it, it's spelled out 110, ONETEN.org. And the 110 project is to focus on hiring 1 million Black individuals over 10 years that will not require a four-year degree so they can get a livable wage job. And that's important because we want to make sure that they hire, promote, and advance the talent in our country. I just said 76% of Black people don't have four-year degrees. So if we don't close that gap and provide real opportunity, we will not be able to access middle class. And at JP Morgan Chase, we're walking the talk. Our global technology group just launched an apprenticeship program. And in this program, we're actually taking our staff from our branches, providing them a direct opportunity for an IT job, providing them the wages and the benefits immediately, and letting them do the on-the-job training. Can you imagine as an employee getting the increased wages and learning on the job how it changes the trajectory of your family and the ability for your family going forward? That's what we're doing. I know firsthand that it makes a big difference. When I first joined JP Morgan Chase in 2020, I did what any leader would do. I looked at the talent on my team. I looked at their education, their background, their experience, and the things that they do in the community. One person's jumped out at me. It was my administrative assistant. She had tremendous experience and knowledge, and she was doing what everybody else is doing, trying to navigate her career and get career mobility. And when I talk about mobility, I don't want this to be some fancy word that we're talking about. She was looking for a better job opportunity to earn more money. And all of us can relate to that, a better job opportunity to earn more money. And when I sat down with her, I talked to her about her skills and talents. And I said, I don't believe for a moment that you desire to be my executive assistant the rest of your career. And I'm okay with that. I want to work with you to help you develop a plan to utilize and take advantage of the talents that you have in our organization for more mobility. And she was a little bit shocked that I had that discussion with her. But I think it's important for us that when we are in these roles, that we are very intentional in helping others have the same mobility and opportunity we have. So Nancy and I came up with a plan, because I wanted to make sure that we can use all that talent, smarts, intelligence that she had, and her accountability, her hard effort, and her communication skills. And it actually wasn't a surprise to me that besides the work that she did at the firm, She was the church administrator for her church. And I don't know about you all at church, but the church administrator, and I will deny this if you tell my pastor, it's probably more important than the pastor. That means that person knows finances, logistics, knows how to be diplomatic, and knows how to communicate, and knows everything that's going on in the church. So I knew that Nancy had a lot of opportunity. I am proud to say that Nancy sent me a text last week to say that she completed all of her coursework for project management, and that in 5 weeks she will take her certification test to be a certified project manager. So now I have the dubious honor of trying to find a replacement for my assistant. So if you know anybody, let me know. But I'm so excited for Nancy because she was able to take advantage of an opportunity and the resources from JP Morgan Chase to actually get a real shot at career mobility. And some of the tools that she used was that, one, we eliminate the requirement for reimbursement for your education. We pay directly to the provider for that certification. Secondly, we hire coaches for those people so they can actually get the right support outside of our organization to help them navigate the challenges of going through that process. So she got the resources to make it happen, and I couldn't be more proud of Nancy. It's so important that we actually support people who are pursuing their passion and leveraging their skills. It's important because we know how important it is to have a good job. And I can't congratulate you enough on the award that you just got for the Good Job initiative. Together, we can develop real solutions. In this room, we have all the people who are sitting in seats of power and influence to make a difference. And we can develop real solutions to help increase the middle class and allow individuals to get real good jobs, which is all the American dream for all of us, right? To have good jobs. Good jobs we know impact your community, your schools, and quality of life for generations to come. So I want us all to continue to move the needle, do what we can in our respective organizations to be change agents to meet the needs of our world. So thank you very much. Thank you all for this opportunity.